Nearly 4 months now after crews had reinstalled the Ten Commandments monument on the Capitol grounds, the Satanic Temple came back with their own statue.
The group's rally for the First Amendment brought Satanists, Christians, even the KKK to the Capitol steps. Scarecrow Jess Stewart joining us now live with the message in all of this. Jess?
Yeah, Bob and Ashley, while some were there to protest today, different beliefs mostly came together to say all or none. If the Ten Commandments get to sit on Capitol grounds, so do the statues of their representative religions.
These people are here in support of their beliefs, and I'm here in support of mine. Fortunately, we live in a country that allows freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I may not necessarily agree with their faith, but I respect it.
The state Supreme Court ruled the Ten Commandments monument was unconstitutional. The ACLU has said the Ten Commandment monument is a part of a religious agenda that excludes other religious beliefs.
The Baphomet statue sat in the center of the rally, but comments about the lawmaker who spearheaded the push to bring the Ten Commandments to the Capitol took center stage.
State Senator Jason Rappert, who sponsored the Ten Commandments monument, clearly did not love the idea of having a permanent Baphomet statue alongside it.
The fact of the matter is that the Satanic Temple is actually nothing more than a group of pranksters who go around and take advantage of gullible people around the country trying to raise funds and promote the profane. Now, under the First Amendment, everyone has a right to free speech, and we respect that. Even people that disagree, I'm open for that. But also, we have the freedom of speech, I personally as an individual, and also the people of Arkansas, to say that we disagree. It will be a very cold day in hell before we are ever forced to put up a permanent monument on the state capitol grounds that's as offensive as this group.
He has come to quench your desire. Here comes an angel to fan your fire, to take you to the stars, take you higher. Back from the days when the world was young, back from the days when life was fun. It is him, he has come, he is the beast and he is the one. Horns of the ghost, rules of the ghost, the fire of the ghost is in the eyes of the ghost. Rules of the ghost, horns of the ghost, the fire of the ghost is in the eyes of the ghost. Hunger and in your lust, he makes you do the things you must. The red hot flames are in your blood, the red hot flames of sexual love. The God of madness will take your hand, the God of madness lead you to the dust. Lost in the rhythm, lost in the trance, lost in the fever and lost in the dance. Arms of the ghost, rules of the ghost, the fire of the ghost is in the eyes of the ghost. Rules of the ghost, arms of the ghost, the fire of the ghost is in the eyes of the ghost. Across the sea, across the sand, these are all the lands of Pan. Every fae, every woman and man, you are all the babes of Pan.
If you enjoy my videos and you would like to support me, I have a Patreon page and offer several tiers. All my Patreons get a shout out in my videos, access to my videos 3 days before they are released on YouTube. I also recently started a Discord server. If you would like to connect with other viewers as well as myself and also Heathen Haven, please join this Discord server. Details are below. This was just too much for some. Among those disturbed by it is a YouTuber called A Call for an Uprising.
Unbelievable. As most of you know, I've been covering the Satanic Temple since I started my channel.
And by covering, he means lying, misrepresenting, spreading fear to his audience, and disparaging the Satanic Temple.
From the, after-school Satan program, trying to get into schools, and counteracting schools that had the Good News Club, by bringing in these satanic clubs to...
It's not countering the Good News Club, which is a Christian-based after-school program. It is included as an option for parents. Inclusiveness is not replacement. There is a huge difference. This is one of the main lies that A Call for an Uprising likes to spread fear about.
All of this stuff with the 10 Commandments monuments, which have been torn down time and time again in Arkansas. Well, now the Baphomet, the transgendered...
It's not transgender, but I will expand on this later.
...goat with breasts and a penis.
This particular representation of the Baphomet has no female breasts, and neither it nor the original image created by Eliphas Levi has a penis. The Baphomet is an icon, a symbol, a representation. It is not a deity. It has no cultural mythology.
Statue has been placed in Arkansas. You can't make it up. Now, it's funny because the Satanists have a huge sign about the First Amendment. And you got to wonder what the Satanists' take is then if they're so expressive and vocal about freedom of religion, right? Which, I mean, where do you even begin where do you even go from here talking about freedom of religion?
Stated in the First Amendment to our Bill of Rights, freedom of religion. Two classes in the First Amendment guarantee freedom of religion. The Establishment Clause prohibits the government from passing legislation to establish an official religion or preferring one religion over another. It enforces the separation of church and state. Having only one religious icon on a government property shows a preference. Either it should be secular or all-inclusive. A Call for an Uprising, I highly suggest you read our Bill of Rights and the amendments.
Where we're talking about a world and a country that accepts Satanism. Satanism.
And we are talking about a world and a country that accepts the Christian-based 10 Commandments, the majority of which have to do with the worship of biblical deity. This is a very weak argument.
The worship of this goat. I'm more creeped out or confused by the fact that aren't people like standing there going, what is this thing? When they look at the Baphomet, right? And going, what is this? And them going, well, we're not really Satanists, you know. We're political activists and, you know, we're trying to, you know, they always bring up gay rights and transgender rights and all this stuff. And of course, like I've said a million times, the main things that they focus on is getting anywhere that there's any type of Christian outpour or Christian organizations, and they go there and then they try to counteract it by saying, oh, well, if there's a monument of Jesus, we're going to bring the monument of Baphomet.
So you are upset that they are exercising their rights and being inclusive to other religions, including your own? You don't want to have inclusiveness. You want special preference. You want to condemn the actions of others without response or any recourse. Well, tough shit. You had your say, and you still have your space. Now shut up and move over.
Right? When they try to sue the state and sue, you know, I mean, it gets ridiculous, right? And the other things they do, of course, is show up at abortion clinics, right? And act like maniacs. Because remember, the things that the Satanists, the real Satanists, because these people are obviously just lower level minions.
The no true Satanist fallacy. Satanists are open and anyone can find out what they believe. Satanists are not running around committing human sacrifice and drinking the blood of babies. You lost your fear-mongering ability, so you have to create a new Satanist and move the goalpost and decry, but these aren't the real Satanists. Give me a fucking break.
But they're doing a job. And the job is to start normalizing this, right? Where people are going to go, well, it's only fair if there's going to be a statue of Jesus, we should have a statue of Baphomet, even though nobody even knows what the Baphomet represents.
Let me explain what Eliphas Levi's Baphomet represents and some other insights into this revised interpretation, according to Eliphas Levi in his book, Transcendental Magic. First off, the name. The name of the Templars Baphomet, which should be spelled Kabbalistically backwards, is composed of three abbreviations. Tem, Op, Ab. Templi Omnum Hominum Pax Abbas, the father of the temple of peace of men. From page 90 of Transcendental Magic. Figure 9, the Sabbatic Goat, the Baphomet of Mendes, a pantheistic and magical figure of the Absolute. The torch placed between the two horns represents the equilibrating intelligence of the Triad. Page XXII. The goat's head, which is synthetic and unites some characteristics of the dog, bull, and ass, represents the exclusive responsibility of matter and the expiation of bodily sins in the body. The bull, the dog, and the goat are the three symbolic animals of Hermetic magic, resuming all the traditions of Egypt and India. The bull represents the earth, or salt, of the philosophers. The dog is Hermenabus, the mercury of the sages, otherwise fluid, air, and water. The goat represents fire and is at the same time the symbol of generation. The goat, which represented in our frontispiece, bears upon its forehead the sign of the pentagram with one point in the ascendant, which is sufficient to distinguish it as a symbol of the light. As a side note, each point of the pentagram is representative of a particular element. The top point represents spirit, and the other four are representing of the elements. When the pentagram is represented with one point upward, that symbolizes spirit over the elements, meaning intelligence over the base elements. When you see it in reverse position with the point downwards, that represents the elements, or the base elements, over the intelligence of man, or over spirit. Seated on a throne and having a flame torch between the horns. The torch of intelligence burning between the horns is the magical light of universal equilibrium. It is also the type of the soul, exalted above matter, even while cleaving to matter, as the flame cleaves to the torch. The monstrous head of the animal expresses horror of sin, for which the material agent alone responsible must alone and forever bear the penalty. Because the soul is impassible, it is nature and can suffer only by materializing. On its forehead, between the horns and beneath the torch, is the sign of the macrocosm, or the pentagram with one beam in the ascendant, symbol of human intelligence, which placed thus up below the torch makes the flame of the latter an image of divine revelation. The Baphomet of the Templars, the bearded idol of the alchemist, the obscene deity of Mendes, the goat of the Sabbath. The hands are human to exhibit the sanctity of labor. They make the sign of esotericism above and below to impress mystery on the initiates, and they point at two lunar crescents, the upper being white and the lower black, to explain the correspondences of good and evil, mercy and justice. Moreover, the sign of occultism is made with both hands, pointing upward to the white moon of Chesed and the downward to the black moon of Geburah. The sign expresses the perfect concord between mercy and justice. One of the arms is feminine and the other masculine, as in the androgyny of Kunraf. Those attributes we have combined with those of our goat, since they are one and the same symbol. The lower part of the body is veiled, portraying the mysteries of universal generation, which is expressed solely by the symbol of the caduceus. The belly of the goat is scaled and should be colored green. The semicircle above should be blue. The plumage reaching to the breast should be of various hues. The goat has female breasts, and thus its only human characteristics are those of maternity and toil, otherwise the signs of redemption. The caduceus, which replaces the generative organ, represents eternal life. The scale-covered belly typifies water. The circle above it is the atmosphere. The feathers, still higher up, signify the volatile. Lastly, humanity is depicted by the two breasts and the androgyny arms of the Sphinx of the occult sciences. This pantheos should be seated on a cube, and its footstool should be a single ball, or a ball and a triangular stool. In our design, we have given the former only to avoid complicating the figure. According to some, the Baphomet was a monstrous head, but according to others, a demon in the form of a goat, a sculpted coffer which disinterred recently in the ruins of an old commandery, an administrative area of knights, of the temple, and antiquaries observed upon it a Baphometic figure, corresponding by its attributes to the goat of Mendes and the androgyny of Kunraf. The androgyny of Kunraf. It was a bearded figure with a female body, holding the sun in one hand and the moon in the other, attached to chains. Now this virile head is a beautiful allegory which attributes to thought alone the initiative and creative principle. Here, the head represents spirit and the body matter, the orbs enchained to the human form and directed by that nature of which intelligence is is the head, are also magnificently allegorical. It is believed that Eliphas Levi used imagery from the tarot card for his design. Although I couldn't find any compelling evidence to support this, they do share certain characteristics. One other image that the Baphomet has been associated with is a statue of George Washington. This leads to some confusion because Eliphas Levi drew inspiration from the seated Washington designed by Greenmurrow in 1832. The Baphomet was drawn in 1856. The Washington statue predates the Baphomet by 24 years.
And people don't seem to be creeped out by this gigantic goat man that the people worship. I mean, it makes me want to pull my hair out that people don't even notice it and say, well, what is this thing? Take a look at it. I mean, you're worshiping a goat with breasts and a penis? I mean, should we start there about, huh?
Where are you seeing a penis? The statue was designed without breasts, which I honestly can understand why they chose to do it. But it loses a great deal of its symbolism by removing them, which is sad, but again, I understand why they chose to do it.
You know, you want to start explaining that and you claim that you don't worship the devil? That you guys are just activists? Shouldn't your logo just be like, maybe a monument of the Constitution or the Bill of Rights or something like that, if that's what you care so much about? But they care, of course, about going to the abortion clinics because, remember, human sacrifice is the key in Satanism and the black magic rituals they perform. And what's the other thing they do? They go to conventions where anybody who's a victim of satanic ritual abuse and SRA, they go there and they protest and they call them idiots and crazy and say they're making it up and it's a witch hunt. That's what they focus in on. But let's take a look here at the temple, which is now in Arkansas with the goat-headed Baphomet statue, and there's supposedly supposed to be protests. Now, obviously, I probably have a larger following than the entire Satanic Temple, to be realistic.
I guess measuring the number of followers one has is some new form of prestige?
Right? I mean, I don't have, people who follow my channel. I'm talking about views per day and subscribers, probably bigger than the Satanic Temple. So I know I could easily say, hey, everybody, there's the statue in Arkansas, but I would never incite violence upon people or the destruction of the monument because, I'm not that kind of a guy, am I? No, of course not.
Your covert language is not lost on me. I know you are indirectly trying to incite violence with this language, while also having plausible deniability, and I hope everyone watching this video knows this, and if violence does happen, that this is entered as possible cause. This is not the first time you have done this.
Some of my nearest and dearest friends are going to be holding a black mass in Salem, Massachusetts. And they're selling tickets, which means it's open to the public. Guess I got to get my black bathrobe and maybe a mask. Buy my ticket. Maybe even get a fake ID. Or is that even necessary? Because remember, you don't know what I look like. I could be anyone, anywhere on that day. And you'll all be looking, right? All hoping to meet me. Because it sounds to me like you guys are really big fans of the channel. Really big fans. But don't get goosebumps. Don't get too excited, because I'm really not there to make friends. I'm there to see what it's all about. I'm there to see and show you that we can all just get along, can't we?
Inciting violence against a particular group is the legal definition of hate speech.
But I think it's kind of funny that this is stuff that they talk about, but why aren't the Satanists talking about the fact that free speech online is being taken away? Shouldn't they care about that? Shouldn't they care about the fact that people like myself and many others out there, as many more than me, have gone through numerous YouTube channels and suspensions and all this stuff about free speech and what we can and can't talk about?
I am sure they can care about several things at the same time. Right now, they are unveiling a statue. Also, it is pointless to protect someone who is actually spreading hate speech, as this makes it stricter for the rest of us on social media. Maybe stop spreading lies, stop spreading hate, and stop using covert language hinting to your viewers to engage in violent extremist behavior.
And like I say a million times, if we're crazy conspiracy theorists, then who cares what we say?
I think the employees at Comet Pizza would care, the families of the victims of Sandy Hook would care, and I think the countless people accused and jailed over the satanic panic care. I think people who have to correct all of your lies care.
Right? Let us be in our corner of the world. Oh, because we're such a threat, because we're waking people up to the truth about mind control and the occult.
You are not waking people up to mind control and the occult. What you are doing is spreading lies about these things. Luckily, there is easily researchable evidence debunking mind control, and there is information out there about what the occult is. One of the unfortunate aspects of studying the occult is that there is a lot, and it can be very confusing and even daunting. But it is out there. Your viewers can read about what Satanists believe, what pagans believe, and what witches believe. There are websites, videos, books, magazines, documentaries, even classes and workshops.
But Satan worshippers turned out to cheer the unveiling of the bronze statue dedicated to the goat-headed winged creature called Baphomet. I would say it's a little bit more than a goat-headed winged creature. It's a tranny goat.
Why do ignorant bigots such as yourself keep misappropriating this icon and claim it as a tranny statue?
To be, perfectly real, the Satanic Temple organization arranged the rally outside the Arkansas State Capitol building to protest a Ten Commandments monument already on the grounds. Although the striking 8.5-foot tall icon was only allowed to be on display temporarily, Satanists argued they should be allowed to erect the winged goat effigy on a permanent basis under freedom of religion rights outlined in the U.S. Constitution.
As outlined in the First Amendment and the separation of church and state.
Satanic Arkansas co-founder Ivy Forrester, one of the rally organizers, said, if you're going to have one religious monument up, then it should be open to others. And if you don't agree with that, then let's just not have any at all. The display inspired a counter-protest by Christian activists, while a leading Republican politician in the state condemned the satanic icon as offensive. Not one of Arkansas's legislators responded to a letter sent by the Satanic Temple urging them to make Baphomet a lasting feature in Little Rock. And I guess what's coming of this is, which I said this is what they do, is they're going to try to sue the state, right? They've been trying to do this, the stuff that I see, they try to sue the states over abortion laws and things like that. Now they'll try to sue it over wanting the Baphomet up. But I'm pretty sure, they only have one of these statues. But I guess they're really the goal for them is to have this statue in front of some Capitol building in the United States of America. And this is just the beginning of the downfall of America. Okay, because this is what they want to do is they want us to take away Christianity. And they're already doing that with Bible bannings and removements of Ten Commandments. And, the overall goal for these Satanists is to get the Ten Commandments removed again. By saying, listen, we're threatening to leave up our Baphomet statue if if you don't take down your Ten Commandments statue, right? And then people are going to get on board and they say, well, it's only fair if they have that up, then they should have the giant naked goat.
It's not naked, you idiot. And yes, they have that right. No one is banning the Ten Commandments or the Bible.
Of course, the goat has, two children or a few children looking up at him. I mean, it's really just disgusting.
Disgusting, like a half-dead naked man bleeding to death as he hangs from a crucifix? Now that is disgusting.
And the state center said it'll be a very cold day in hell before an offensive statue will be forced upon us to be permanently erected on the grounds of the Arkansas State Capitol. Well, let's hope so.
As a servant to the people, he must follow the Bill of Rights, so his personal feelings are really irrelevant.
A similar Ten Commandment statue was installed on the grounds of the Oklahoma State Capitol, but in 2015, the state's Supreme Court ruled it should be removed. Judges decided it violated the state's constitutional ban on the use of state property for religious purposes, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Right? We're going to see them go to all these places that have statues and things up that reference Christianity, reference Jesus. Don't be surprised if they show up outside of, the Oklahoma City bombing where they're the grieving Jesus towers. Don't be surprised if they show up there next and put their Baphomet statue there. These are the things that they look for. This is part of their plan and their operation. Because it is an operation. It's not just what everybody thinks where they go, well, all these guys in the Satanic Temple, all they want is to get on TV and to get on the news. No, they're working for these people. right? They're making it seem like there's no such thing as real Satanists and they're political activists, so they're deceiving the masses into thinking that Satanism in the occult isn't real.
Satanism, as defined by those who follow it, like the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan and other such groups, are real. The pursuit of occult knowledge is real. I'm not sure who is telling you that these things are not real. What is not real are the accusations that there is some cabal trying to take over the world, or that Satanists commit human sacrifice. These things are not real, or there is at least no evidence to support such claims.
Because these people are well-spoken and they show up at these places and they tell everyone that they're not Satanists, even though it's pretty funny. If you go through their Twitter feeds, you go through their YouTube channels, you can actually see them performing satanic black mass rituals, which is just laughable. But again, they're not Satanists, right?
The name of their organization is the Satanic Temple. Yes, they are Satanists as they define it. They are not what you believe they are. Satanic is in their name. Essentially, it is your mythology and your interpretation that they are playing off.
And I can't show you the clips because I don't feel like getting a copyright strike, but I mean, laughable stuff that they tell you that, and then you could go look for yourself. But everybody believes what everybody else has to say, right? They just go, oh, yeah, he says he's not, so he's not. But their logo is the Baphomet and the upside-down pentagram. I mean, you can't make it up. It is laughable. But again, the goal here, what they're going to keep doing, is going to all of these places, all of these institutions, all of these schools that have any type of Christian, and listen, they're not going to target anything that has anything to do other than Christianity. They're not going to look at any other religions, just places where it's Christians.
I think you understand what this is about. It is not what religious icons are being portrayed. It is the fact that if we are going to allow one religious icon in, then we have to allow all of them. If the Baphomet is approved and another group wants to erect a statue of Ganesh or Buddha or Zeus, then according to our First Amendment, they have that right.
Or Christianity is being promoted, or Jesus is being promoted, or the Bible is being promoted. And they're going to keep threatening to leave the Baphomet statue up. The funny part is, like I said, I don't think they have the money to make another Baphomet statue, although obviously there's people above them who support them.
If needed, they could raise funds for another statue, or 2 statues, or 3, or really for as many as needed. If something does happen to this statue, or they want to erect another statue, I would contribute to it, and I would encourage others to do so as well.
Because, I mean, these, who knows how these people are making any income at all, right? And doing this on a regular basis, going around parading to these events, but I don't think they could even afford to leave the statue there. So it's all just intimidation and threats and then legal action so that they can get what they want. They get a lawyer to work for them pro bono, right? The lawyer gets done what they want to get done, which is to take down anything pertaining to Christianity, and that's how they continue to strip Christianity from the United States of America. It's as simple as that. So,
if approved, the statue would not replace the statue of the Christian 10 Commandments. It would stand alongside it. You really don't understand what this is about, do you?
The Satanic Temple gets their Baphomet goat up in Arkansas. People will be protesting. But try to understand what what they're trying to do here. It's almost like you might as well just call their bluff back. But I mean, it's either way, it's a lose-lose situation, because if you call their bluff back and they really leave the Baphomet statue up, I mean, let's be realistic. 50 years down the line, the Baphomet statue will probably be outside the White House and every other Capitol building and every state in the country. Just absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe I'm alive to actually witness this stuff and see how ridiculous it all is. It really is insane.
More fear-mongering from a call for an uprising. He just doesn't understand our Bill of Rights. This is the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you in hell, you heathens.
In the eyes of the goats, in the eyes of the goats, in the eyes of the goats, is the fire of the goats. In the eyes of the goats, in the eyes of the goats, in the eyes of the goats, is the fire of the goats. The fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Blues of the goats, horns of the goats. The fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. the goats? Who's the goats? The fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Who's the goats? Horns of the goats. The fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Goats is in the eyes of the goats. Who's the goats? Horns of the goats. Fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Horns of the goats. Who's the goats? Fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Who's the goats? Horns of the goats. Fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Horns of the goats. Who's of the goats? Fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Who's of the goats? Horns of the goats. Fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Horns of the goats. Who's of the goats? Fire of the goats is in the eyes of the goats. Who's of the goats? Horns of the goats. Fire of the goats is in the eyes